Good morning, my friends, and welcome to another segment of Coffee and Coaching. I am calling today's segment Single is Not a Death Sentence. And I think that this topic is very apropos with, with what we're experiencing in society today. We just came off a 2-year quarantine period, almost 2 years, and I think loneliness has almost become an epidemic, which of course was exacerbated by our need to quarantine and isolate ourselves even more. It creates a disparity and just a need for something or someone there, which I think is why a lot of people ran out and got pets during the quarantine. But even before that, I've experienced personally myself settling, and I've witnessed friends who have settled, and I also have friends who are beautifully strong and independent and happily single, and choose to be that way because they're not willing to settle. And I know that it can be hard sometimes when you want somebody in your life for those events, those special times that require a couple or a guest. And I did single for a long time, a really long time, as a single mom. And I worked for a company that had a lot of events where we were encouraged to bring somebody, or we were allowed to have a guest, whether it was a cruise or a special event that we were doing where we could bring somebody with us. And I always chose to bring one of my girlfriends with me, even on a cruise. And I know for a long time there was a lot of speculation about my sexuality, and I always laughed about that because, again, I don't really think that that's anyone's business. But it took me a long time, and I honestly really had given up and was happy and resolved with being single. And I think a lot of times it comes down to knowing who you are and being happy with yourself first, and not expecting anybody to create that happiness for you. I mean, that's a lot of pressure on anybody. But the point of this segment is more about not settling and not getting to that point where your response to people when they ask you or they question about, your relationship, and they see that you're unhappy. A lot of times people's response is, well, it could always be a lot worse. And that's true, it could always be a lot worse, but it could always be a lot better. And I'm a firm believer for waiting for that right person. And even if that right person doesn't come along, which I don't believe, I think that if you put yourself out there and you hold yourself to your standards and what you want, you will find that. It just takes some weeding through the rocks to find the diamond. But you don't need to settle. You don't need to say it could be worse. You don't need to put yourself in a situation where you end up with somebody that's not really who you want, but they're okay. I tried that and it didn't work either. And it really wasn't until I just was happy being myself and being with myself and doing my thing and working the job I loved and raising my son, and 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 giving it to God. I mean, really, just giving it to God and saying, look, if there's somebody out there that I'm supposed to be with, you'll bring them into my life, and He did. And I know it's easy to say now from this perspective, but at that time I didn't know. I didn't know I was going to end up with somebody who was just so absolutely perfect for me. But I had faith, and I believed that when it was time, and if it was time, the right person would come along. And so my encouragement today is, if you're in that situation, and we're all going to have times where we feel lonely or we wish we had somebody, but do yourself a favor and hold out and wait until it's the right fit. Don't try to put a square peg in a round hole. And if you find yourself in a situation or in a relationship where your first thought is it could always be worse, run. Because that's not the relationship for you. Yours is coming. It is. But don't settle. You don't have to. You don't deserve anything but the best, and you shouldn't settle. Love yourself enough not to settle. And that's my message today, guys. I love you guys. I hope you guys make it a great week, and peace out.